Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to another Supreme Commander Epic. It's going to be 4v4 ladder action this afternoon with an eclectic mix of Joes and Pros going down on Delos, Isla, which I believe is a new map as far as Guilecast is concerned. We'll talk more about the map in just a second. First of all, let's introduce our players and our teams. It's slightly back to front as far as I'm concerned. This is Team 1 down here at the bottom left as far as the map is concerned, and this is Team 2 up at the top right. So if I make any mistakes referring to the teams throughout, you have my apologies in advance, but you'll understand why I am making said mistakes. I'm sure you'll manage. However, starting with Team 1 and our introductions, let's go to the bottom left in Ferrari red. Going Aeon, it's Schumer opening first land. Team member number 2 on the little plateau to the north. Another red, this time it's burgundy red, and it's Raptor Jesus. Very overstated. Going first land and going Cybran. Team member number 3 above him in Halib orange. We have Kama, or Kama, probably Kama, isn't it? Going Seraphim, opening first land. And last but not least, for Team 1, it's none other than Guilecast Premium's community replay finder, Regal Eagle. There he is. Core integral member of Guilecast Premium on the Discord, which of course if you want to join, guys, a mere $1 a month, check it out in the description below. And while you're down there, give us a like, a subscribe and a comment. It's all good for the algorithm. Anyway, here is Regal Eagle going his customary mellow yellow, opening first land, second air there, sandwiched in between two handily placed hydros, almost begging for an air factory. So that's Team 1, comprised of 2 Seraphim and an Aeon and a Cybran. Checking out Team 2 at the top of the screen now in baby blue to begin with, having already left his base. It's Star Commander going Cybran, bless him, opening first land, second air. On the plateau for Team 2 in electric blue this time, I misread it, thank goodness, for the first time I read it, Macroorganism. You can imagine, I'll leave it up to you to imagine what I misread it as. He's going UEF, opening first land and double second air. To the south in this season's fabulous Vivacious Violet, it's Snake Bit 33 or Snake Bite 3, whichever one. Snake Bite, I mean, I can't imagine he's named after the cocktail, which was a bit of a stretch. Are people still drinking that? The youngies who go out to pubs and clubs, you still pouring that bizarre combination of Guinness and cider down your neck at whatever it'll probably be now, £7 a pint, or whatever ridiculous thing. It's a grotesque thing. And the audacity to refer to the thing as a cocktail, that's a real stretch. But anyway, there he is. Snakebite is what we'll be referring to him today as. Going Seraphim, opening first land, second air, third land, and last but not least, down here in the bottom right in Cyanide Cyan, we have Dean Earwicker. That's an interesting one. Opening first land, going Cybran, and going first land up here, second land, and then third air by the looks of things. So racial makeup of Team 2, we have a UEF, we have 2 Cybran and a Seraphim. Game quality, 100% as you would expect from a algorithmically balanced match for ladder. The actual difference in averages between these two teams are 1 point, 1456 versus 1457. We are pretty darn happy with that balance, so it'll be interesting to see how this one develops. What have we got going on in the early phases, the early expansions? We've got some transports away up in the north there for Regal Eagle, moving engineers about, getting these micro plateaus where we have the odd mass point situated. Even an extra hydro there, and some reclaim to boot. Speaking of reclaim, that is the reclaim situation on the map. We have some large concentrations across the diagonal center of the map there. 2.2k either side of the center, and right in the very center we have just shy of 1,500 mass per plateau. Mini plateaus here. You can imagine that might be useful for an artillery piece, maybe a TAC missile launcher, some flak, a SAM site, that sort of thing, just to make life difficult for your opponents as they cross over the center of the map. Schumer making a move towards the bottom right-hand corner. Let me just check which levels I have running because it seems like it's a little bit quiet. It was indeed. I do it every time. Apologies for that. Just boosting the sound a tad so you have some game sounds to go along with my voice. Might make a little bit more sense of the action for you. Allow you to hear those strategic missile launches, which I so often miss, apparently, in my old age. Regal Eagle moving out to the east slightly from this kind of raised top left section. So the main features are obviously this plateau mirrored on both sides, and then this sort of L-shaped, partially raised plateau. We've got some cliffs in certain places, but it's not uniform across the whole way. That's a very long, passable piece of terrain in this section here. So not providing a great deal of protection one way or the other as far as either team is concerned, whichever direction you're attacking from. And then you have these peaks here and here, and in the center, as we mentioned before, possibly useful for defensive emplacements and turrets and what have you. Macro organism with an upgrade. Starting Tech 2, 15% done already on that UEF chassis. Is that the first upgrade? Might have been. There is, however, another T2 underway. This time it's for Jesus, just to the south. Raptor Jesus instead of Rapture Jesus. That would be a shock, wouldn't it? I think he's coming to transport you to heaven. It's a frickin' Raptor. And another upgrade on the way for Schumer T2 as well. So everybody extolling the virtues of getting some early tech. Expect lots of defensive emplacements to be springing up across the front line. 2 T2s for Team 1 and a T2 for Team 2. That was a little bit of a tongue twister. Quite pleased with myself for getting through that. T1 bombers out for Star Commander, harassing the odd engineering unit or indeed early T1 structure belonging to Regal Eagle, who went all the way to placing a T1 PD on this little plateau up here. Definitely didn't want any hostile incursions getting a foothold there. T1 interceptors shooting down that bomber and keeping that point defense alive, allowing it to fulfill its duties. Kama on the way to the north with some THAMs, running straight into an autogun though, being pursued by a healthy group, a healthy sized group of Mantis. And another T2 upgrade on the way for Kama. It really is Tech 2 across the board for these Team 1 commanders. That's 3 out of the 4 so far. Any upgrades attempted yet for Regal Eagle? Not as yet. Instead, working diligently towards land factories in the north. Another bomber attempt, was it? Or was that? No, that's a transport that's been shot down. Perhaps a transport belonging to Regal Eagle trying to offload more engineers onto that position to supplement the one that's already there. Trying to get a new unit of T1 anti-air operational. You can see Star Commander quite concerned about this position. He's paying it a lot of attention. And I think looks like Regal Eagle's going to be able to hold on to that. Another transport for Regal Eagle. Where was that going? Do have one T1 radar that's been built. Not sure exactly by what. Can't see any wrecks of any engineers that were dropped off there. But there's a marked difference in the progress of Team 1 versus Team 2. Schumer, all the way down here in the bottom right, has a presence. He's stolen the corner peak, the defensive peak, what Star Commander probably had eyes on doing. Star Commander has a strong presence on the plateau on the opposite side of that corner peak. in the north. But apart from that, Regal Eagle largely in command up here. Hasn't yet managed to grab these 3 mexes, but I'm sure it's on his to-do list. But down here, Earwicker, who's now starting stealth. He actually went for gun upgrade, the single departure from the Tech 2 engineering suite upgrades that seem to be popular in this match. He went gun initially and is now going for stealth. Schumer has the T2 on the other side of things, and he's managed to throw down 3 units of T1 point defense and is now working on an Oblivion turret Tech 2. So that is rapidly turning into a nasty little Firebase. Second Oblivion turret under construction. That's nearly done. Some T1 units to the east. Dean Earwicker looking like he's going to withdraw those instead of attempt an assault. There's no way he's going to be able to brush aside this position with all of this point defense and a commander in situ. Strong move through the middle from Jesus. No turning the other cheek for him. Getting straight in there, going after Snakebite. Fronted by that so-called cocktail. It's even the right colour for Snakebite almost. Well, depends where you go. Star Commander in a little bit of trouble here as he finds himself up close and personal with a big old group of FAMs from Kama. Star Commander taking fire as well from a Seraphim T2 PD to the south of Kama's. He went down to 3,500 hit points in that exchange, but I think he's put enough distance between himself and that force of Kama's to keep that comm alive, although he's happily bringing it back in. How far off a rank vet is he? Well, there is the answer. Immediately gets that rank. He just wanted to grab a little HP boost. He's up to 5,100 hit points now. Killed a few units doing so. To the newer players out there, I'm still getting comments on new and old videos alike about why even the top pros put their comms in harm's way. Well, it's very simple. You have to do it. The comm is too powerful a unit. Can give you too much of an advantage not to put it on the front line. If you don't do it and your opponents do, then it is game over. So people are essentially forced in these team games to keep their commanders up front. And as a result, even the best players can get sniped out early doors. It's just the way of things. Kama continuing to throw down units of point defense as we approach the 15-minute mark in this one. Reclaim definitely favouring Team 1. 29k versus 23k in favour of Team 1. Generated Eco, Team 1 up there also, 374 to 282. That is a large margin for 13 minutes into the game. And in terms of total mass accrued, 169k versus 145k. That's substantial. Team 2 with some catch-up work to do here. What has Star Commander been doing? So he's eased off any pretensions towards this top left-hand corner, I wouldn't say plateau, but raised section, if you will. And instead is primarily concerned with main base defense. Kama with the point defense creep underway, steadily dotting these PDs bit by bit, inch by inch, closer towards the enemy and cutting down their sphere of influence. You can see Tech 1 point defenses under construction in the background there for Star Commander. They're not going to fare too well against these Tech 2s though. Assuming they can get an actual lock on anything that isn't an anthill. Kama probably wise to continue around this little crater here and retain the height advantage. But he's managed to bag himself a factory kill. Now we have some air superiority fighters in play out from Macroorganism. They are busy clearing the skies of T1 interceptors belonging to Schumer and Jesus. A little bit of a point defense creep underway in the south. Schumer advancing forward bit by bit. Quite a comprehensive list of defenses he's got here, along with a TAC missile launcher. We've got flak, Tech 1 and Tech 2 point defense, tactical missile defense, shielding going up, mobile shield gens in play. The absolute works. Earwicker with gun upgrade and stealth, as mentioned before, just biding his time, funneling reinforcements up to this position. But all of this inbound force, it's all Tech 1, as we have a nasty little group of T2 belonging to Schumer just nestled in behind this Firebase, ready to lend assistance. Schumer pulling in 132 mass per tick, Earwicker pulling in 103, so definite advantage. And of course holding the peak up here. Let's see, building. Now it's all T1 at the moment, bar the mass extractor. Star Commander having repped up a little bit. Now into the green, so over 75% of his base health recovered. Or recovered to 75% of his base health. At 11,000 hit points out of 14,400, so a considerably better state of affairs than when we saw him last. And Kama actually bringing his commander back slightly, reclaiming as he goes. A little patrol route down to pick up that mass. Tech 3 on the way for Macroorganism. Com, who's got only one kill to his name, barely been in the fight at all. I think it's fair to say after an initial handful of encounters, a little bit of a slow build up to this one. Everyone's sitting back, no major encounters underway, but this could be a tricky situation brewing for Earwicker, who's moving his commander and getting flanked in the process by a large group of blazes coming in from the west. He has of course got the gun upgrade and he's got stealth, so those blazes will have to be in visual range before they open fire, which they have now done. Earwicker shedding hit points, but shedding hit points slowly. His base health was also 14,400, but suddenly the hit points begin to tumble into the red. 2,300 hit points, gets a crucial rank in veterancy, back up over 3.5k, but still in the red. 1,400 hit points, overcharges here and there going off, keeping him alive. 600 hit points, 300 hit points, 200, 100, sub 100, down to about 40 hit points. I don't believe it. He survives, and only one blaze makes it out, possibly to make it to safety, to tell the story to everybody else, although there's a lot of inbound replicators. No, he's not making it anywhere safe. Wow. Dean Earwicker with the miraculous escape there, and you better believe he's taking his comm out of that situation all the way home. Back up as far as he possibly can, lest someone come in with a gunship or a bomber rush to finish him off, which could easily happen if he's too far forward. TAC missile launches underway from Schumer's Firebase in the south, targeting vulnerable and exposed T2 mexes. Earwicker Takes another hit there, bringing his mass production down to 120. Schumer on 155, but of course, this TAC missile battery still launching its payloads. Earwicker continuing to lose mexes, now down to just 105 mass per tick. These are Tech 2 mass extractors which are getting taken out one by one. Ooh. Oh, he gets very lucky on the angle of attack there. Inbound TAC missile, because of the high height map, colliding with the mass storage instead of the mechs itself, and thus saving the mechs. Raptor Jesus in the center, steadily taking up shield gens around this central Firebase. Snakebite with a force comprised of T1 Thams, the odd Zooey, and a handful of Othams, as well as one mobile shield gen. Snakebite with gun upgrade on his comm also eats a TAC missile. I mean, it basically looked like it missed. It looked like it breezed over his right shoulder, hit the ground next to him, but still did a lot of damage. He was inside that AoE. Another one of those, and that would have been good night Snakebite. Fortunately for him, Schumer built just the one. 20 kills to its name on that TAC missile launcher, fully 5-starred. Another 2 missiles in the chamber, ready to go. It's not been a great result for Team 2 down here in this bottom right-hand corner, or the top left. Team 1 up almost 100k, more like 90k. Well, there's actually what I'm talking about, more like 70k. But the difference in mass per tick is very nearly 200 mass, about 190 mass per tick in favor of Team 1. Team 2 have a lot of work to do to turn this around. The longer this goes on, the harder it's going to be to come back from. RAS upgrade on the way for Kama. And look what we've got here. Well, looky what we have here. Quantum Gateway in play. Kama producing support commanders. Of the combatant preset type. So he's not going for mass eco. Instead, he wants to utilize those Seraphim support commanders with their brutal overcharge. It can be incredibly deadly. This is not looking great for Team 2 right now, has to be said. Star Commander back at base with his comm. Just pumping out units. They're going to have to get something going on their eco front. Omni-sensor array will help things. Is that the first one? Well, it really is. That is an absolute dead zone. There you go. You see the Omni goes up, and suddenly they have all of the intel. That's the picture from Team 1. They do not have fully... Oh, maybe they do, actually. They've just scouted everything. Excuse me. Maybe they have operational Omni right in the center. There you go, which is just giving them all of the intel that they need to know. Some forward momentum now from Schumer, advancing with a combination of T2 Blazers and some Harbingers. 4 mobile shield gens for extra coverage. Earwicker is following on behind, but it's mainly T1 spam. There is a T3 brick this unit mix, but that is it. There is no other tech in this group of units. But where can this little assault force realistically go? Well, there's an avenue of attack in through here. Could take a couple of mass points out on their way past. However, that avenue of attack is being headed off. You can call it headed off, but their column is being flanked now by Snakebite and his Othams. Managed to bag one Mex. Another one further to the north is vulnerable. Engineers spam up a T1 point defense for some defensive coverage. Oh, and I like that inbound hostile shield gen blocks some of the fire. Doesn't manage to save that second T2 Mex, however. It still goes down. T3 Mex up at the back receiving fire. Surely they can keep that one alive. It'll take an age for that single blaze to dispatch that. Carrying on anyway into the rear of Macroorganism's base. Bricks and Trebuchet moving up front now for Star Commander, who's having some range problems of his own. A single solitary sniper bot taking pot shots at this position, but I think he's probably going to get dispatched with a Trebuchet shell to the face. That'll get the job done. Hello. Monkey Lord under construction for Star Commander. Pulling in only 191 mass per tick. He is short stacking on eco compared to everybody else. So that's not going to get done in a flash. Although progress is proceeding at a half decent rate considering. But look at this. Regal Eagle out in front with 411 mass per tick. Number 2 income. Schumer at the bottom with 348 mass. And the only other 300 income is another player on Team 1, Raptor Jesus at 302. And look at that difference. About 500 mass per tick difference now between Team 1 and Team 2. Perhaps it's hard to tell where you are when you get to the 1.4Ks. What's going on past that 4? But look at the difference. But the first experimentals actually completed by Earwicker. No surprises. Monkey Lord, sensible decision. And where is it headed? We don't yet know. Rally point over here by this little Firebase. Now, will it be able to steamroll through Schumer's southern outpost? That's a hefty group of bricks that he's managed to amass. 5 Harbingers defending. Not sure that's going to be enough, even with all of the point defense. Certainly won't be enough to repel a Monkey Lord. And in fact, Schumer needs to finish this upgrade ASAP. He'll probably be very much unaware of the lurking threat. That is... sorry, that is the view from Schumer. You can see the bricks amassing here. But what he can't see is the inbound Monkey Lord. He has finished... No, he hasn't. A little tooltip disappeared, the way it often is prone to doing. But he is still rooted to the spot. He needs to withdraw as soon as that completes. And there it goes. Must have been an awkward few minutes while he waited for that to complete. And now he really will be alert to the danger as those long-range plasma shells start colliding with the comm. He's taking damage. Several hundred hit points at a time. Spiderbot moving inbound, wasting no time, looking like he's pursuing the commander who's already down into the yellow. Personal shield failing slightly. That's a bad time to have a power grid failure, that's for sure. In come the bricks from the east. Schumer's defensive forces scrambling to try and keep the commander alive. All of this stuff is going to die. He has started work on a GC, but that's very far forward indeed. And the way this attack is going, it looks like all of this infrastructure might get taken out, along with this build capacity, trying to get the first experimental for Schumer online. Next few moments will be telling, and we'll decide who controls this territory for the next portion of the game. Wheeling further to the south, all of the engineers around the GC get massacred. Production completely halted on that experimental, and will get finished off now. This is a nice little attack from Earwicker, who's had to sit back and watch as Schumer takes more than his fair share. Onwards they go. GC finally dispatched. It was a long way from completion, but they'll be happy to have taken that out nonetheless. And the Monkey Lord is still alive, but it's taken huge damage. 11,000 of its 49,500 hit points remain. And simultaneously, we have the second Monkey Lord attack from Team 2, this time in the north, threatening Regal Eagle. Less of a Firebase in situ, but a very large mobile force instead. Several Othams in play, lots of mobile shielding. Regal Eagle's going to want to get a move on this. It's like he hasn't noticed the threat. What are you doing, sir? What else could you be doing? Well, he is working on an experimental bomber, and he's got a bunch of gunships. That should solve this problem pretty quick. Question is, who's got the dominant air force? Well, that's what he's been doing. You can see he's been interacting with Macroorganism's air force in the center as gunships try and take down a Rambo's preset support commander belonging to Kama. Looks like those broadswords will manage to do that. But this Monkey Lord's just getting free kills up in the north. Experimental bomber launches a bomb and manages to tear a hole in an advancing force belonging to Snakebite. This is a massive three-pronged attack that's underway from Team 2. Schumer at his fullback Firebase with some decent amounts of T2 point defense, but that's a lot of inbound brick pressure. He has got Harbs coming in behind it, but his comm is very, very close to the action. He's going to need to get it the hell out of there. He's not overcharging as much as I would like. Perhaps he hasn't got the power to do so. Haven't really got time to check it, unfortunately. Bricks is still advancing. Schumer at full base health, but down to around 5,000 hit points left on the shield. And I think he's going to survive. Bricks running out of juice. But look at this. Control in the bottom right-hand corner completely transferred. Checking in on top left now. That Monkey Lord with nearly 200 kills to its name. It's now a 3-star Monkey Lord. Goes forward. Land factories about to be incinerated. And that's the T3 HQ. That will hurt a little bit. And a Fat Boy as well out from Organism. Right in the center of the map. Looking a bit vulnerable, but does have some Cougars racing towards it, as long as along with some skyboxes, incidentally, to provide some cover. That won't help, however, against an inbound support commander that just rolls straight up inside that artillery arc and overcharges it, and then proceeds to hoover it up. How incredibly rude. There's still a lot of operational bricks roaming around down here. This is almost a completely fresh set. We've got 1 or 2 damaged, 3 in fact, damaged bricks out of this pile, but all of the rest are looking very fresh indeed. We've got this little quad of T3 factories just pumping them out. They're making their way towards the front line and queuing up for what looks like another attack on Schumer, who is losing ground every time. That was the last Firebase, the last fallback point. That's been eradicated. He's constructed another one, has got some harbs again, but oh no! That Ithota very much still alive despite the experimental bomber pressure. The rest of the force has been obliterated, but this is major issues. Can it tear down any of the base defenses and allow these bricks to get a handle on this comm? I think the Ithota's going to go down, but the Ion Storm is going to kick off. Schumer's going to have to evac. Bricks on the warpath. Schumer going to be able to stay out of range of the Ion Storm, and some of the bricks might take some fire on their way past, but they've managed to get in range of Schumer's comm, and his health is evaporating. Bosh! Our first death, and surprisingly, it's a member of Team 1, Schumer, who's fared pretty well so far throughout this game. The first to bite the dust on what was a solid combination play there from Snakebite and Earwicker. He does manage to get a nuke off from this little nuke silo in the backfield before control is transferred over to his teammate Jesus. Where is that nuke headed? It looks like it's going after Organism. Do we have nuke defense? Our survey says yes, we do. Loaded with just 1 missile. Good thing too. That would have caused serious problems for Team 1. Sorry, Team 2. Again, I told you I was going to do it. It's just a natural instinct for me that Team 1 should be at the top of the screen. Monkey Lord defending up front for Star Commander. Second one under construction, just a stone's throw away behind it. That's a lot of siege tanks that Kama has managed to amass there. 17,000 DPS. Mass cost of 30,000. But not enough to just steamroller their way through. Gonna back off slightly. That Monkey Lord's hardly taken any damage at all. Nice little Gunther battery over here, exposed after the shield gen has gone down, but it hasn't taken any hits themselves yet. Monkey Lord that brushed aside Regal Eagle's force in the top left-hand corner, still very much alive and well, stomping his way around that top left-hand corner. Just waiting for Star Commander to make a play on this top left-hand corner position. I'm betting he'd probably like to eradicate this, however. I like the placement of these little positions, making a royal nuisance of themselves. Now we're getting to the later stages of the game. We're seeing experimentals of all shapes and sizes coming out. We've got some standoff tactics which have materialized. The Novak Center in operation for Macroorganism. Earwicker and Snakebite right in the backfield with their comms, as is Star Commander at the top of the screen. Time has long since passed for brave commanders on the front line. Too much tech on the field means your comm won't last long at all. 2 Ithotas for Regal Eagle patrolling his northern border, and actually that Monkey Lord has evac'd with its laser still stuck on. That's It's a long-standing bug which has never been fixed. That has run right through from 2007 and is still going. Jip, if you're watching, is there any way we can fix that? Doesn't happen consistently, which I understand from a coding perspective makes life more difficult. I'm sure this has been discussed at length in the various forums, and if you would like to check out the FAF forums, or indeed any of the FAF resources, see what this game's about, just head over to faforever.com. Find all the information you need there about this majestic game and its wonderful community, which has kept it going all of these years, long past its publishers and its developers' shelf life. 3 Ithotas versus 3 Monkey Lords. Only one result is going to emerge from this, and that's going to be the complete destruction of the Monkey Lords. Not even remotely a fair fight. Looks like 2 Ithotas probably going to survive. Boom. And that might mean the eradication of this forward position belonging to Star Commander. Look at this. Kama with a nice unit comp with Othams, the odd shield gen, some flak, some sniper bots, and up front some nail support commanders that are just strolling in through the front door. Fat Boy on the front line doing its best to defend. His own support commanders out front spamming T1 point defense. A lot of point defense which is going up. Operation defend at all costs. Fat Boy in full retreat here. His shield's gone down. Support commanders are going to finish that off. They are so nails, the Seraphim support commanders. They've got access to that overcharge. As long as you've got the power, they've got the damage. Sounds like a dance track from the 90s. Awasar in over the top from Snakebite, tears a massive hole in that inbound column of units. Still a lot of Othams alive towards the north, and Kama missing a trick here, not sending them in against this little mass fab farm, which Macroorganism is benefiting from. Instead of getting some nice kills there, he's going to lose all his units, waiting for Snakebite to get another attack in. What was distracting him, I wonder? A lot going on back at home, but that was a missed opportunity. Certainly could have taken out all of those. The Ithotas still alive from that little Ithota run by over here. They demolished the base and now have made it all the way to the top of the screen and are annihilating what's left of Star Commander's main base. This is a spectacular collapse here from Team 2. One of the Ithotas taken out by that Awasar, which is getting a lot of defensive work done here from Snakebite, but the other one has made it to its target. Where is Star Commander's comm? He's dropped back here and is now spamming up some hive engineering stations. Awasar comes back to defend. Are these the same 2 support commanders? I think they probably are. One of them killed off at least by this horde of hastily produced T2 gunships. Stingers raining prickly fire down on this pesky support commander. Can he hold on to his power grid? Just not dishing out the damage he would like. Launch, no SMD. He has got a nuke ready to go. Raptor Jesus saying ping it, ping where to attack. This is not looking grand right now for Team 2. Snakebite doing wonders right now, trying to keep his teammates alive. His position, along with Earwicker in the south is pretty good, but this attack from Team 1 has punished the two northern players. Team 1 might be down a man, but they are up significantly. And if you look at the mass totals, they are up 500,000 mass. So you can see why they've been able to affect such damage. But look at Team 2's kill-loss ratio. Team 1 doing pretty appallingly on that side of things. Helped in no small part by units like this. Fantastic defensive work. Team 2 at 1.54 on kill-loss ratio. Apologies if you can hear my dog barking in the background there. He's been trying to tell me all week that a lottery ticket he bought on Saturday was a winner. He's upset he can't remember where he buried it. It's a dog's life, but are we about to see the final demise of that experimental bomber? Regal Eagle taking the opportunity. He's going to take a battering from the counterattack from Macroorganisms fighters and from Dean Earwicker from the south, but it was worth it, I suppose, to get that damned experimental bomber out of the sky. Meanwhile, a Novak satellite, we saw the station on the ground a while ago. That's been causing all sorts of problems back at base for Regal Eagle, who's lost, well, a decent number of power plants and some associated air factories. Push on the ground continuing. This was a real slow start, this game, but my goodness if it hasn't escalated quickly in these last 15-20 minutes or so. But this attack finally over, I think. That Northern Crab going to just get absolutely mobbed. Consolation prize of the GC is going to get taken out. But this attack slowly petering out. Well, there's a decent ebb and flow. Reinforcements coming in now for Earwicker. How is Star Commander getting on with the rebuild? Well, to his credit, he's got 3 iron reactors back up and running, spamming up some energy storage. There's actually nothing on the ground in the vicinity which would stop him re-establishing himself, and he's got access to a decent amount of mass, which is what's facilitating this recovery. How many support commanders does Kama have on the field now? Not that many. He's only got 4 support commanders out, but they are definitely making a nuisance of themselves. There goes one of them. 2 Ithotas might be a little bit more than you can chew, sir. Oh no. How depressingly predictable. I mean, we could rebuild, or we could YOLO. There it is. If you're going to attack a Cybran and smash his base, make sure you get the commander, because if you don't, he's going to come back at you with a tele-snipe attempt before too long. So he has the microwave laser upgrade already on board. He's working towards the teleporter in stutter-step fashion as he struggles to maintain his eco whilst trying to complete that upgrade. Who is going to be the lucky recipient of its first test firing as it crawls up, already at 60%. Have they been discussing about who they're going for? Nope, not as yet. Twin Ithotas bearing down on the front of Kama's base. There are a lot of defending Othams and bricks out front. Teleporter completed. And there it is. Activation underway. Where is he going? Regal Eagle is there. Not seeing that. Raptor Jesus is there. It's going for Raptor Jesus. He will face the Rapture himself by the looks of things. It's right on top of him. Shields protect Jesus for a little while. But in the end, there's just no stopping that laser. Bosh! He's very close to some ion reactors, so he needs to be a bit careful here. He'll be trying to get out of harm's way as soon as possible. Can't really see my way through the nuclear fire. He's still on the ground. Got very badly damaged after all those ion reactors went up. He went straight back to base and managed to make it out. 5,000 hit points. It was a little less than that, but he's already got himself some repair jobs underway as he went back to his hive facilities. Nuke out once again from the backfield. And it is now a 2v4. Yes, all of the eco has been with Team 1. But they are losing players. They cannot keep that up. You have to turn it around. Nice defensive nuke. Takes down 2 crabs, badly damages another, and takes out all of the inbound brick force that was marching with it, allowing the southern outposts to breathe just a little bit longer. And that third badly damaged crab on about 16,000 hit points. Hawasars have featured prominently in this game. Another one out for Snakebite, and that's going to get tagged by a handful of air superiority fighters from Regal Eagle, but he didn't commit with his main force, didn't want to chase it all the way back. I'm going to do a very quick head count here, if I can select the right person. There we go. So 2 different racial groupings of ASFs, or 3 even. There we go. So we're looking at about 250 fighters under Regal Eagle's control. Macroorganism on 79, but an extra 52, which are bingo on fuel, so they'll be of limited help. And Dean on 159, so well, combat effectiveness wise, slight edge potentially for Regal Eagle, who has of course the full control of them. He hasn't got it split between 2 forces, but in terms of relative force, if he could get those out of fuel wasps, get them to an engineering station, or indeed to this fat boy here, will slowly be refueling them. Kill the arse washer, says Raptor. Definitely sympathize. One of those roaming around unnecessarily. If you have a shot to take, you should take it. Counter-attacking GC eats one of those experimental bombs to the face, taking off enough hit points, I should imagine, for these units of point defense to finish him off, although there's not that many, and it is of course cyber in point defense. Oh, some collateral damage on that latest one, but the threat is neutralized. Fatties in the north, 3 of them now for Macroorganism. He really was lucky to survive that attack earlier from Kama. Kept alive by his teammate Snakebite's defensive measures. Start with 47 kills. He's taken a bit of a battering. He's on about 2/3 health. Regal Eagle making a play towards it. He's probably not going to be able to execute that. Definitely doesn't want to lose his air force. Oh, he's going to dispatch one group of Geminis with their stealth capabilities, suiciding in to try and finish off this Awasar. I'm not sure that's enough. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. It's going to be close. Oh, no, not quite enough. Bomber survives on 11,500 hit points. Nice attempt, nonetheless. And crucially, he didn't lose his whole force. Has a very significant group of Notha fighter bombers and Volthu gunships, does Regal Eagle. Star Commander's repped up. He's, of course, still the threat from a telemaser point of view. Another nuke out from this launcher back here. This must really be bugging Team 2. They haven't been able to bust this position and take it out. Is it going down here again? Going to kill all of these engineers. The front line slowly moving in the wrong direction in the south as far as Team 2 are concerned. A group of TAC missile batteries which were just stockpiling their missiles. They are going to get incinerated. Now 4 fat boys on the front line. Lots and lots of mass on the map. Freely available to anyone who seeks it, and it is now neck and neck in generated eco negative. Actually, Team 2 are generally ahead. Lots of catch-up work to do. But look at the difference in reclaim totals. So we've just been talking about the massive amounts of mass deposited on the map. Team 2 have really been taking care of that. 713k versus 338. Admittedly, a lot of the combat up here has been on their side of things. So that might have something to do with it. Star Commander actually beginning to rebuild, so maybe we're not going to see another telemaser attempt. Regal Eagle done the appropriate thing. He's also got nano repair on his comm. Decent amounts of Tech 1 point defense surrounding his commander. How about... Where is he? There he is. Kama over here. He does not. What is he working on? Oh, heavy artillery. So we really are in the late game now as we move in towards the 1 hour mark. Nice counter-attack in the wake of that latest nuke in the south. Novak satellites overhead. Ah, what? Oh, so Star Commander didn't go after the comm. He went after the power grid, I guess, and got annihilated by what? Did he stand too close to the reactors again? And the volatile explosions took him out, maybe? I don't remember seeing banks and banks of point defense up in here. That is, yeah, that's a shame. So Team 2 lose their first player. It's not going to have an enormous impact on the game. He wasn't doing an awful lot there, despite the fact that he had, of course, taken out Jesus, taken out a player. But generally speaking, he wasn't bringing a lot of pressure, helping to pin down any areas of the map. Another nuke out of this launcher in the back that has 209 kills to its name. Fully 5-star Apocalypse launcher. And the target remains the same. It is the presence of Earwicker in the south. And it's going to get a Novak satellite and another one that was under construction. Every one of those nukes, their position in the south becomes just a little bit weaker. A couple of Fat Boy wrecks over here, soon to be a third further to the north. Is that artillery? That is artillery down here that's hitting that Fat Boy. But we have Athotas on the ground that have been trying to punch through this front line of Kamas. Last Athota running out of health rapidly. Another Athota further to the north. This time it's Regal Eagle with an experimental bomber which is causing problems. But oh dear, more Athotas on the ground to the south. Snakebite once again advancing. One defending crab. Probably going to get overrun. We do have a new GC with a handful of harbingers. Regal Eagle says Nuke is ready. Working on another Awasar back at base. Where's he going with this one, though? Oh, he's going straight in after Snakebite's main base. No messing about here. Drops off a bomb. Depletes the shield. So he must have won a massive air battle at some point, because there is no aerial response here from Team 2 whatsoever. Two small pockets of ASFs, comparatively speaking, giving this Awasar free reign, and now with an opening potentially at the commander, who's right there. Oh no! Stood just a little bit too close to one of those P-gens as well. And that's another dead player on Team 2. It is now a 2v2. This game is just dancing from one direction to another. Get the bomb off. Oh, there's all sorts of lovely infrastructure which needs to go pop here. Doesn't manage to get that bomb off. Drops it late just to kill a handful, if even that, maybe one emplacement, one SAM or something. But he had another Awasar under construction. Where has that gone? There it is. No rest for the wicked. Straight in. Maybe this time he'll manage to hit these 4 P-gens. Macroorganism with 72k power production. That's going to take a hit, but it'll have lots spare. Down now to 62k. Has all of these P-gens further to the north. He's building a nuke launcher of his own. There's so many Ithotas, though, being produced, pumped out, moved in all directions. Still, though, the south is alive. But for how much longer? Inbound megalith has reached this southern outpost, finally. Focusing on the wrong thing, though. Needs to kill the Oblivion turrets, that's for sure. Ah, but he's got a GC in behind him. Another nuke out from the backfield. 289 kills still to its name. And still the pressure being applied to Earwicker, who better hope he's got some nuke defense. He doesn't. Is he about to go pop in this? Might be a little long. Oh, he's just outside the blast radius. 12,000 hit points left on the comm, but the main base of Earwicker just got obliterated. But he is still pulling in 849 mass per tick. Regal Eagle right now pulling in a mere 385. So far off the pace compared to Earwicker. Kammer's pulling in 1.1k, but Macroorganism on a whopping 2k per tick. A lot of that may well be down to current reclaim income. Just get the feeling that the momentum change may be starting to move in favor of Team 2. They are up in total mass accrued. They are comfortably up in generated eco. Yes, they've lost 2 players very recently, and they've taken some big hits to major installation, but a lot of their fragmented infrastructure remains intact. However, they are receiving now long-range artillery fire. One T3 artillery emplacement for Kama in the center of his base. I'm sure I saw, maybe I imagined it, thought I saw Regal Eagle with some artillery of his own. Novak's dead, says Regal Eagle. Yes, indeedy. 1 hour and 2 minutes gone, and this game is still up for grabs. Although, my goodness, this income is just skyrocketing for Team 2. Macroorganism absolutely on one. Hello, it's Game Ender time. Scathis under production in the north for Macroorganism. Another one started down here for Earwicker. Regal Eagle and Raptor discussing strategic missile defense. Regal Eagle says he's on it. He has got a merry band of strat bombers inbound. They're taking a lot of fire as they fly over some Cougars and a few batteries of anti-air defense. I'm not sure if he was actually going to bring those round for an attack. To be honest, I think he'll probably be able to, or Cameron will probably be able to dispatch that with his long-range artillery. Regal Eagle might be making a play for it with his experimental bomber. Nonetheless, we have a lot of SAMs dotted around. He's going to take a lot of damage. Wow! What happened to his health? He got the bomb away. He's taken out the SMD. Is that the only SMD in the area for Macroorganism? Nuke the power. I mean, I'd nuke the comm. Try and get him out of it. Get it down to just one. Likely move, but gonna get decent goodies either way. Harbingers getting into it with some support commanders of Dean. These are all anti-air preset. You don't see an awful lot of those. Not a terrible decision, of course. Air has been a problem for Team 2 since they lost whatever large air battle it was, which we unhelpfully missed. Apologies indeed for that. Feel free to mention in the comments with timestamps. Perhaps people could catch it on the fringe of the screen when I was talking about something else, or indeed have a look on the mini-map. If you saw when that large air battle was, which established Regal Eagle with decent air control, has now forced Team 2 into massive quantities of ground-to-air firepower. Look at all these Cougars that are rolling out. 29 Cougars on the field. How are we looking on the SAM front? Wow, it's a lot of SAMs. And a very concentrated area. They were all belonging to Snakebite, 48 of them. Amazed he's managed to hold on to all of these. Little mass fab farm, highly vulnerable. One of those artillery shells right in the middle should take care of all of that. Lots of mass to be had in the south. Regal Eagle wasting no time, sending in T3 NGs to get his share of the prize pool. Look at that. Blocks of 10,000, so of 100,000 mass. You can make out those numbers in there, jumbled up on top of each other. There's a lot of mass to be had. 3 crabs moving up through the center of the map now for Kama. We've got a couple of defending Ithotas to the north. And another experimental bomber inbound from Regal Eagle. Bombs away. Should probably turn around, especially after what happened to the last one. never actually got that nuke, did we? Team 2 actually have a nuke loaded in Organism's launcher, and as soon as I say it, off it goes. Who's going to be the lucky recipient? Well, it's going straight after the megaliths in the center. And that's going to kill a bunch of other units around them and thin out some of this mass on the ground. See those wrecks instantly disappearing. Megaliths taken down to about a third health with that direct hit from the nuke. But the Scathis in the north is complete, and that is an existential threat for Team 1. First volley's going towards Regal Eagle. He's got a lot of comprehensive shielding, but will it hold up? We know how good the Scathis is at depleting large areas of shield coverage. We have a dual operational Scathi. There it is for Earwicker. Targets looks like Eagle from both directions, and no amount of shielding is going to keep that out, quite frankly. Look at the carpet bombing that is underway. Poor old Regal Eagle just getting peppered now with artillery. A move from Eagle shoots down an experimental bomber belonging to Earwicker. He wants to try and keep his fighters away from this massive group of bouncers which is moving through the valley. But we have a counter Scathis from Kama, which is launching against Earwicker and his Scathis. Support commanders desperately trying to shield it up as quickly as possible. Regal Eagle's base has been obliterated. His eco is still much healthier though than when we last checked. It's almost doubled. He was down at 340 something and now he's on 720. Strat bombers moving out. Nuke inbound. Will the nuke finally take care of it and allow Kama's Scathis to seek a new target? Where are those ASFs headed? They're just on a scouting mission. Strat bombers for Regal recalled. They know the nuke has got the job done. And that will take some of the pressure. Off Regal. But there's still another one to the north, and that northern one has redirected. In fact, both of them redirected. Earwicker's volley right before it died. Manages to finish off Kama's. So now we're down to one Scathis, and it's the one in the north, just to the south of Star Commander's old base. By this group of crab manufactories, these hives. Team 1 desperately need to find a route of attack in here. Need to get some kind of air attack going from the north and come at it. This is a nice little push from the south though. Got a bunch of harbingers with a couple of crabs moving up. Unfortunately they're a bit fragmented. One defending crab coming in from the east from Earwicker, but there are 4 Ithotas covering that southern approach. Some harbs finding successful route in, massacring the civilians as they try to build more chickens. Kama still spamming up heavy shield gens with his commander, trying to repel all of this inbound Scathis fire They have to find a way to take that out, otherwise it is game over. Organism transfers controls of all of the Thota to his teammate Earwicker, who will handle defense down there. Another group of Harbingers make it into some more sensitive areas, but they're being chased down on the ground by those Ithotas. Some Othams rolling up through the middle. Just hasn't got enough firepower to contend with all of these experimentals. Oh, is it too little too late? He does manage the attack with an experimental bomber up to the top of the screen, takes out the Scathis. But look at the difference in eco. Team 1 on 1k, Team 2 on 2.1k. There's so much infrastructure up here that Team 1 just don't seem to have an answer for. They can't seem to kill it. They had another Scathis at this point. They could do some real damage. I don't understand why they never launched another nuke up here when they took that down. They must never have had a spare nuke ready to go. They do have one loaded, but they've subsequently, of course, rebuilt their SMD. And there might be more coverage on that route in now. Still, it's actually offending me that this little grid was never hit with all of the opportunities they had. Such an easy target. Awasar for Regal Eagle, still getting some work done at the top of the screen. 35 kills to its name. It's got its escort detail just sitting off the edge of its operational range. Handful of air superiority fighters from Earwicker being sent to intercept. They will not fare well if they get into a fight. Can Team 2 use this air control to fight their way back up to parity? Another nice little run by from Kama. Gets a handful of Harbingers into some sensitive areas. To climb this little zigzag. Rows of flayers up here. Engineer's going to get to work on some triads. There's so many units of build capacity there. The point defenses will be constructed in very quick order. Awasar coming in for an attack now at Organism's main base. Gets the bomb away, gets shot down. What could it do? Well, tears a hole in the front line, but Organism's comm still looking healthy, still behind this battery of Ravagers. Finishing, cooling down off their latest spool. That is a very chunky comm indeed.
Launch detected.
Aha! So there is the nuke we were talking about. That Awasar took out the SMD, so the plan we thought they were going for before is finally executed. Organism doesn't want to stand there. He definitely needs to move in the opposite direction if he can make it. He's just sort of moving around at the moment. Once he sees the trail of the inbound nuke, however, I imagine he will move well out of way, well out of dodge. There he goes. He should be outside the blast radius now. Some support commanders were harmed in the filming of this. How many? Well, it's probably got about 3 or 4 there. Even Organism took a little bit of damage on his shield. But that really hasn't affected his income very much, and we have a rebuilt Scathis from Earwicker, which Team 2 have to worry about. And once again, it's poor old Regal Eagle who will be receiving the money shot. Family show Guile, sorted out. Kama still sitting under shield coverage. Oh, don't land your planes there. Right by a passing regiment of bricks. Regal Eagle now pulling in a very paltry 163 mass. His eco has just been annihilated. Ugh, he says to his allies. Yeah. It's not looking great. And if we look at the ground game, it's looking even worse. Ithota in the middle. 2 crabs coming across the middle with a ton of T1 archers. And in through the top left-hand corner, massive brick assault surrounded by cougars. And I'm not seeing anything on the ground for Team 1. It's going to help them defend. We have some experimentals in the south. They are way out of position. They're not going to be able to help. 1 crab in the center. He's tied up with another attack that's brewing over there. 2 separate attacks simultaneously threatening Kammer's position and Regal Eagle. And there's seemingly no way for Team 1 to combat this, whilst all the time receiving more inbound Scathis fire. Bricks reach the front line. Healthy looking T2 battery of point defense. A little one slightly further to the southeast, valiantly defending against this incursion. The bricks are forced to back off. Back over here, though, Kammer's base under siege. Organism needs to turn that megalith around and go 2v1 on this megalith. Oh, and there is a desync right at the end. The GGs go out. They know they've been beaten, especially with the re-emergence of the Scathis in the north. Control Ks are out, and that is game at 1 hour and 18 minutes. It was a slow start, it has to be said, but there wasn't an enormous amount of mass on the map. It took a long time for them to get decent economies up where they could properly start having a go at each other. And because of the arrangement of the players, it didn't make sense to relentlessly throw low-order spam, I think, at each other in the early games, because you would have set yourself up for a very bad position indeed, giving your opponents all of that extra reclaim. But a lovely game nonetheless, with fantastic ebbs and flows. Looked like Team 2 was going to fare better initially, and then Team 1 took over. And then it looked like it was theirs to lose, and then, of course, lose it. Unfortunately, they did. In fact, I don't think that's fair. I don't think they lost it. I think they really won it. I wanted to give Snakebite the MVP for his fantastic defense. Without his defense on multiple occasions in the early game, I'm not convinced Team 2 would have held. So I'd like to have given it to him, but Macroorganism, he really closed this game out. So I'm going to dual award it. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to dual award it to them. Sorry, Team 2, you had some wonderful plays, some wonderful players. Regal Eagle, my boy. You know I'd always give it to you if I could. You were spectacular nonetheless. If you don't agree with me, guys, if you would give MVP to someone else, just let me know in the comments. In polite fashion, please. I mean, you can call me crazy. That's fine. I'll accept that. But yes, who would you give MVP to? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, while you're down there, smash like. Don't forget, guys, the Patreon is always a thing too. It's got a real budding little community over there. It's a very cheap, very respectable, mere $1 a month. That is way below what you would find on most Patreons up and down the globe for various things. I don't know what else everybody does. Origami, you know. $5 a month to see the latest bit of folded paper. Not having a go at origami, if there's any Origamis fans out there. It is fascinating stuff nonetheless, but a mere $1 a month. You can't say fairer than that. Give you access to the Discord and almost weekly fresh casts, which are only available to premium users. Alrighty, thanks for your enjoyment, thanks for your viewing, thanks for your likes and all of that. I hope you stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.